Good morning and welcome to A to Z for Moms podcast. I'm Jody Martin and today is Whip It Wednesday. We do culinary adventures and cooking tips. You get to explore the culinary world and improve your cooking skills with me today. Thanks for tuning in and listening. So just to recap, if this is your first time listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube, this is our weekly lineup. On Mondays, we do, and sorry about my cold. It's not a cold. I have horrible allergies the last couple days, so pay no attention to my stuffed up voice. But on Mondays, we have Motivational Monday. Kick off the week with inspiration and self-help. Teaching Tuesdays, we talk about homeschool insights and educational guidance. Whip It Wednesday is today, culinary adventures and cooking tips, exploring the culinary world and improving your cooking skills. Parenting Perspectives is on Thursdays. You can get advice, stories, and support for parenting. Food Storage Friday, learn about food storage and preparedness. And Money Magic for Moms on Saturday, discover entrepreneurship and ways to make money from home. So that's our weekly lineup, and today for Whip It Wednesday, we are going to be talking about menu planning. As a mom, I totally get those dreaded words of what's for dinner, whether it comes from kids or husband. Sometimes you just don't have it in you, right? And you're just like, I don't know. What do I do? And it can get overwhelming. And this is where menu planning can save your bacon, literally and figuratively, I guess. So we're going to be talking, every show we talk about 4 talking points. And the 4 points we're going to talk about today: number 1, where to start; number 2, shopping the sales and clearance; number 3, 2-for-1 meals; and number 4, freezer meal ideas. So this, with our menu planning, we're going to talk about those 4 different talking points. So let's go ahead and start with number 1, where to start. So what I do is I make a menu list. Now, I started doing this quite a few years ago when, have you ever had that where you're just like, okay, I know we need to have dinner. Everyone's going to be hungry, but I don't know what to make. I have no idea. I don't know what sounds good. I don't know what to make. So quite a few years ago, I realized, if I had a list of some of our favorite or common meals that we make as a family, I could use that as a reference. So I started doing that in my notes on my phone. I started making a menu list of all the meals, all the dinners that we've ever made or we want to make or enjoy making. And it's a huge list. And so I could refer to that list for inspiration, whether I was menu planning for the week or if it was just kind of a last minute, hey, we really didn't have a meal plan for tonight. Let's look at the list for some ideas. And it was so incredibly helpful. Now, I have this list available on my blog. So if you want to download my list, copy, paste it, add, subtract, whatever, you're more than welcome to. I'm happy to help. This list is shared on my What Ate 8 blog. So it's what, then the number 8, and then ATE.com. So it's like what 8 people ate. What88.com. That is my food related blog. So that's all recipes. Everything on that website is related to food. There is some food storage and prepping related items, but again, it's everything food related. There are sometimes I share coupons on there for couponing. There is some blog posts on couponing, which we'll talk about later. But so if you want to download this list, I just posted that a couple days ago. So you can download this list, copy, paste it, like I said, add, subtract. I ended up splitting, because over the years I was always adding to the list if I thought of a new meal or whatever. Or we tried a new recipe and we're like, oh, we like this, we want to add this in our rotation. I ended up splitting it to regular meals and sandwich ideas and breakfast ideas. So I did that 3 different meals just for me, because sometimes those were hard ideas. But you could do it. You could split it up as many ways as you want. If you want to do soups, it's kind of like your own cookbook without the recipes. It's just the recipe ideas. Now, my list, most of those items on my list, you'll find the recipes on that same website. Occasionally, I have two different blogs, the A to Z for Moms and the What 88. A to Z for Moms is a super old blog I started way back in 2010, and it was kind of a little bit of everything. Well, a few years ago, I decided to do the What 88 that is only food related, basically. And so over the years, I've been taking some of those older recipes on the A to Z for Moms and then remaking them and redoing them and posting them on What 88. So the majority of those recipes should be on that What 88 website. However, if there's one that's not on there, try searching the A to Z for Moms website. And if you still can't find it, send me an email and I will make it and put it on there. So challenge accepted. And again, just as a plug there, if you have any questions throughout any of my podcasts, any suggestions, questions, tips, need clarification, anything like that, feel free to email me. It's podcast@a2zformoms.com. So, like I said, if you can't find a recipe that's on there, whatever, send me an email. So that's what I do, the menu list. That really helps a lot. Sometimes just to give those ideas when you have no creative juices, you're just mentally exhausted, you don't want to think of ideas. It's so nice to have those ideas that you can refer back to. Then once you have those meal ideas, this is what I recommend when it comes to meal planning, where to start. And I recommend this for food storage stuff as well, which you'll understand once I explain the concept, how you can adapt it to food storage. Choose 10 meals per week. So I know there's only 7 days in a week. I get that. This is why. Choose 10 meals for the week. And what that does is that gives you 3 extra meals each week, right? Because the way I found is my family, we didn't like to assign specific meals to each day. I mean, sometimes we do, but sometimes it's like you get to that and you're like, oh, this is on the menu for today. That just really doesn't sound good. But the item we have for tomorrow sounds better tonight. And so we'll swap them. So rather than being so rigid and stuck in, we're making this on this day and this on this day, if you have your list of 10 meals for the week, you just have 10 meals listed out. Each day you go and you say, all right, what sounds good today? Which one of these 10 meals are we going to make today? You make it, you cross it off the list, and the next day you have 9, and then 8, and then 7, blah, 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 down you go. So what's nice about doing it this way is rather than getting to that last day and you're like, oh, there's one option left, that's what we're making, you actually have 4 options to choose from. So you're going to end the week with 3 extra meals. Now, what do you do with those 3 extra meals? You've purchased for them your meals stuff. So you have some options with those 3 extra meals. You can move them to the next week and just be like, hey, now we have 3 of our 10 meals. We only need to come up with 7 more for next week. You can have them for lunches, like on Saturday and Sunday. Maybe you want some nicer lunches of, hey, oh, well, we were going to make spaghetti. That was one of our 3 extra meals. Let's just have that for lunch on Saturday because everybody's home and whatnot on the weekend. So you can turn them into lunches. You can push them over to the next week, or you can add them to your food storage. As long as they're shelf stable, you can take any of the perishable, like if you have produce or things that are perishable, and you can use those ingredients for the next week's meals, and the shelf stable ingredients can go into your food storage, and that's okay too. So that's how I really love doing this, 10 meals a week. I love it. It gives you a lot of flexibility. It gives you just easy numbers. It gives you some options, and you have extra at the end of the week that, like I said, you can transfer over or save or do whatever. Have some nice lunches. All right. So that's a good place to start. There's your start for menu planning. There's a good place to start. So that's number 1, where to start. Now, number 2, shopping the sales and clearance, because that's one thing. When you do menu planning, you're going to save money. It's kind of like the impulse buys at the grocery store. Have you ever noticed that even at Walmart, I was at the other day and I was laughing because as we're going through the checkout, and they have all the impulse stuff there. I noticed here they had a bag of Doritos, a bag of chips, and this is a small bag. This is like a little small 1-serving bag, and it was $2.18. And I was just laughing to myself because literally at the back of the store when we grabbed groceries, we got a bag of chips for $1.98, and that was a full-size bag of chips. Full-size bag of chips for $1.98. But if you forgot to grab chips and you don't want to go clear to the back of the store, conveniently they have 1-serving tiny little bag for more money than the whole big bag in the back of the store. And that's kind of how menu planning works. When you're planning stuff, you can shop the sales and you can save money rather than impulse of that whole last minute, oh, I don't know what to do, let's order pizza. Okay, there goes $30 for a meal that if you had planned could have cost you less than $5 or $10. So it will help you save money by doing your menu planning. For me, what I do, especially when we are on a tight budget, I build our menu around the store ads. So in my area, the ads come out on Tuesdays and the ads start on Wednesdays. So the ads, all the sales in the store go from Wednesday to Tuesday. And then Tuesday, the new ads come out, whether they come in the mail or so many just have apps nowadays that they just load them up in the app. So for the 10 meals, I would be prepping, and I would have my week of the 10 meals go from like Wednesday to Wednesday, not necessarily Sunday to Saturday, if that makes sense, Wednesday to Tuesday. And I do that because it aligns with the store sales. So when the ad comes out on Tuesday, I would pull out the ad, and it's fun to get your kids involved. By the way, if you do have kids, there is a game that I invented years ago. It's called the Budget Meal Game. You can watch my YouTube video and it explains how to play it on my YouTube channel, A to Z for Moms Like Me. Or you can go to the blog, What88. It's also on there, and there's the video and there's a breakdown of how to play it. It is the funnest game. It teaches your kids so many skills between budgeting, menu planning, sales ads. It really, I cannot say how. I'll have to do a special podcast on the budget meal game because it really, my kids learned so much doing that game and they had so much fun doing it. But so I get my kids involved. We pull out the store ad and we'll look at and when you're doing this every week, you start to learn what the normal prices for things are. You're like, oh, butter's on sale for $2.99. It was $3.99 last week, so that's a pretty good deal. It's $1 savings, 25% off. So looking through the store ads, you'll find that I don't mind. I'm the type of person, I don't mind going to. We have 3 grocery stores in my area. Well, technically 4, I guess. And so I don't mind going to a couple stores if it's going to be a decent savings. And there's certain things I prefer at certain stores. Your boxed and packaged food, I tend to go to Walmart. It's the cheapest place for that. But then I also have a Smith's, which is Kroger, or Lynn's, which is, what are they called? They used to be Associated Foods. Now they're like Food Club. Food Club is the brand. Anyhow, so I like the Food Club. I like their bakery and their meat department. Smith's, I really like their produce, and Smith's does great sales and great clearances. So I would say like 80% of my shopping I do at Smith's, Kroger, Smith's, whatever, because they do so many great deals. And then I'm there, and I usually don't need to go to some of the others. But I will look at what's on sale, and then based on, okay, well, pasta sauce is on sale, so let's make some pasta. What are some pasta options? Spaghetti, ravioli, lasagna. You know, we can do lasagna soup. We can do all these different things. We can do shepherd's pie, and what can we make with pasta sauce, since pasta sauce is on sale? So we do that, and we build our menu based on what's a sale. Now, also keep in mind, some of the stores have their own reward programs, so make sure you're signed up for those. So when you're shopping at the stores, you're getting points back. Like at our Smith's Kroger store, I get fuel points. And so for every 100 points, and I think you get 1 point per dollar, but then they have specials like Fridays, you get 4 points per dollar and things like that. So for every dollar I spend, I get a point, and for every 100 points, I get 10 cents off a gallon of gas, their gas station. That's awesome, and that adds up, and it lasts for 2 months before it expires. So we've definitely saved a lot of money just doing that, because we're gonna buy the groceries anyway. And then, like I said, the stores have clearance items. Make friends with some of the store associates, the produce department and meat department. Ask them. They work there. It's not coming out of their pocket. They are more than happy to help you. If you say, hey, what day's time do you normally clearance down your meat or your produce? They'll tell you, and it depends on the store. Sometimes they're like, oh, well, we usually, for example, one store years ago, they used to take their fresh ground beef. So every day they have fresh ground beef, and this is way back when, good luck finding this price again, but it used to be $1.99 a pound. That was like the normal price during the day. But the next day, or it was that night, every evening at 9 o'clock at night, they would take the fresh ground beef from that day, and they would clearance it down to 99 cents a pound, so half price, because they were going to fresh grind more the next day. Every day had to be fresh ground. So whatever was left over, they would discount, and I mean, it's still fresh ground. And so you can use it within days. You can pop it in your freezer. You're getting it at half price. They do that with produce. They do that with the meat, with the dairy, all these things. And find out from your stores, what time do they clearance them down? And they'll tell you, or where's your clearance section? Find out where the clearance section is and check that. Depending on the store, they have certain times. They have their routine, and like I said, the employees are more than happy to help you, because it's customer service. They want you to be happy. And the thing is, a smart store will do some good clearances, because they know if you come for a clearance item in their store, chances are pretty high you're going to buy other stuff while you're there, right? And you're in their store versus somebody else's. So it's just good business sense to them. So another thing is, watch for coupons. Stores, there's coupons you can get. Coupon.com, I think, is a main website, and you can get a lot of name brand coupons and things like that. Another thing you can use with coupons, so you can have store sales and coupons, and you can have coupon apps. You can really like double, triple up on some of these savings. You get your discount apps or your rebate apps, such as Ibotta. Ibotta is a great one that basically you go in and you sync it up with the stores, and you clip the coupons in the app, and then when you purchase those items, it gives you rebate, and that's cash. Like, it gives you rebate, and you have to get a minimum, I think it's like $10, and then you can cash out, and they send that to you. They'll send it to PayPal or whatever. I always do PayPal. So that's cash back in your pocket, and it adds up. And that's for stuff you were going to buy anyway, so you may as well get some money back on it. Another one of my favorites is Fetch. It's called Fetch. It's like a little dog fetching a newspaper is the logo. And with that one, you just take a picture of your receipt. This is after you've bought something at any store. You take a picture of your receipt, and they give you points. And you turn those points in for things like gift cards. And so we use that for our date nights a lot. I'll just scan my receipts, or I'll take pictures of my receipts, turn them in, we get the points, and then we use it on date night. And they have a lot of bonuses there for specific items during certain times, that if you purchase those items, you get bonus points, and so it can add up a lot. I do have affiliates, so if you are looking at getting Ibotta or Fetch, check out the description in this podcast, or on my Facebook page, or my blog, A2Z4moms.com, or the YouTube description in this video, and I'll share my affiliate links in there. So with the affiliates, it's great because it's a little bit of a kickback for me, but I mean, it's not much. It adds up though, right? But with Fetch specifically, you can you get a bonus and I get a bonus just by using my affiliate link. So it helps us both out. Ibotta is the same. I don't know what their current promotion is. Ibotta changes up their promotions, so, but it's the same thing. Like, you get something and I get something for referring you, so it's awesome. So please, if you don't have those, please use my affiliate. That would be fantastic. I would greatly appreciate that. So, all right, we've talked about where to start, number 1, and number 2, shopping the sales and clearances. Now we're going to talk number 3, 2-for-1 meals. Now, I know this sounds kind of weird, right? 2-for-1 meals. And I was laughing as I was typing up some of my podcast notes and talking points. So the first one, make it once, eat it twice. And I kind of laughed because I'm like, ooh, gross. That sounds like you're throwing it up and eating it. No. Make it once, eat it twice. So what that means is make a meal where you can use the components of that meal for a second meal. For example, anytime at my house, anytime we cook ham, turkey, or even get like one of those rotisserie chickens from Costco or Walmart or whatever, you're having the meat with that meal. And Thanksgiving, this is like perfect time, right? We all just had Thanksgiving last week. So, and I actually, this is a great example, I just did it last night. So with the turkey, for example, for Thanksgiving, we cooked the turkey, we ate the turkey, then we had the turkey meat leftovers, we made sandwiches. That's like sacrilegious if you don't have turkey sandwiches after Thanksgiving with leftovers. That's like my favorite part. I almost love that better than the first day. So we had the turkey the first day, we had turkey sandwiches the second day, but also after the first day, as we separated all the turkey meat first and put it aside for sandwiches, I took all the scraps and the bones from the turkey, all the undesirable stuff you would normally just throw away. I threw it into a big stock pot, filled the pot with water, and I simmered that for 2-3 days. Now, you don't have to do that long. We were like, turkey didn't sound good for a couple of days because, we were turkeyed out. But, we simmered it, and then you just have to keep adding water, and you can just simmer it on low. If you want, I usually do at least 24 hours. We'll simmer it for, but you can do 3 or 4 days. Just like I said, keep adding water and just keep it on a low setting on your stove. And what that does is it makes a turkey stock. You're boiling, you're simmering all the bones and the skin and fat and all that. And there's little meat scraps in there and all that. And then when you're ready for it, you strain everything out so you have just the juice. And that's your base. That's turkey broth, turkey stock at this point. You've got that really good flavor from all the seasonings and drippings from your turkey. I'll usually add the gravy in at that point, and any leftover gravy that we have, and that is your base for soup. Now, if you just want a broth, have at it. It's ready. But I turn it into turkey noodle soup. So at that point, we add vegetables, we add any leftover turkey meat that we have. And when you pull the bones and scraps, sometimes there's good turkey meat that's in there that's come off. And so you can pick through, pull out some of that meat, throw the bones and everything away. But now you've had turkey the first day, you've had sandwiches, and then now you've got turkey noodle soup. So that's actually a 3-for-1 meal. So do you see the concept I'm talking about here? 2 for 1. But you can do that like with ham, same thing. You have the ham dinner. Actually, ham, you can do sandwiches too. Ham dinner, ham sandwiches, ham soup. Do the same thing. You can do ham and split pea, ham potato. I like ham potato pea soup, but, and you can do all those. And if you don't know how to do this, like specifically with the soup, I do have a video on my YouTube that's a tutorial video on how to make a turkey noodle soup from scratch, exactly how I just described, with taking the carcass and the bones and everything and turning it into a soup. That tutorial is on my YouTube video. The recipe is also on the 188 blog, the 188.com. So some of those things, you're making it once, eating it multiple times, and different ways. It's not like you're eating it the same way all the time where it gets old. You're shifting it and you're just changing it. Another good example would be homemade refried beans, which again, there's another, that recipe and tutorial is on the 188.com blog. And it shows how to make, you take pinto beans in your slow cooker and you turn them into refried beans. No, our family, we love these. I'll do them I'll start it the night before. It does take time because pinto beans take a while, but we start it the night before. It's super simple. You throw a few ingredients in your crock pot, set it on low, and it takes about 12 to 24 hours. And so we'll start it the night before, and then the next night you blend it up. Basically, everything's been slow cooking. The pinto beans have gone soft, and you just mix it up, puree it up, and you've got refried beans. So now you can use those refried beans. You can just have them as a side. You can, eat them with some cheese and sour cream, whatever you like. You can use them for bean burritos, or you can turn it into 7-layer bean dip. So you're taking that one thing and you can eat it for multiple meals, just prepared in different ways. So 2-for-1 meals, these are great. They're budget friendly, and it makes your menu planning so easy because you're like, hey, if we do bean burritos with some homemade refried beans, and then the next night we're going to have, enchiladas with beans and rice or whatever, you already have your beans made. So it's a great way you're reinventing your leftovers. And other examples for reinventing leftovers, taking roasted vegetables, putting them into a frittata the next day, basically a crustless quiche. Turning leftover rice into rice pudding. That's one of my favorite things to do. Super easy. Turning leftover rice, and a lot of times I do it that night. So we'll have leftover rice and I'll make rice pudding for a late night dessert or a breakfast for the next morning. All right, so reinventing. So these are some of your 2-for-1 meals. Another idea would be make a kitchen sink soup. So soups are so easy to make, and there's not really very many wrong. I would say very many because I'm sure someone will come up with a way, but I'd say there's not a wrong way to make a soup. Throw your leftovers, your veggies, your meats into a pot, add water, season it with some stock, chicken stock, beef stock, whatever, and turn it into a soup. Add some noodles, add some potatoes, whatever you like, and you've turned your leftovers into a soup. Some of my favorite soups and our family's favorite soups are literally, we call them kitchen sink soup. And it's we got this leftover and this, let's make a soup or a chowder out of it. A chowder is going to be your cream sauce, so you're going to add your milk and it'll be creamy, whereas a regular soup is more like a broth and more clear, transparent. Turn it into a salad. Use your leftover meats, hard-boiled eggs, veggies, whatever. You can turn that into a salad the next day. So the great thing about this, the 2-for-1 meals, they minimize waste, they save you money, it takes a lot less effort and energy. And another idea that you can do, 2-for-1 meals, is make a super large batch and then freeze it. So I do this anytime I'm doing something that freezes well. So lasagnas, meatloafs, those are some of my favorites. Lasagna, meatloaf, enchiladas, those are some of my favorites to do. It's really not that much more effort or ingredients to make 2 pans of lasagna than if I'm making 1 pan of lasagna anyway. You can stretch your sauce and your ingredients to make 2 pans, throw one in the freezer, and now you have a freezer meal for an easy dinner another night, which carries us through to number 4. Okay, so we've talked about where to start. We've talked about shopping the sales and clearance. We've talked about 2-for-1 meals. And now we're going to talk about freezer meals. Wasn't that? That was the perfect segue ever. I love it. Okay, freezer meals. I love freezer meals because they're so great. Now you do have to have the freezer room, but the cool thing is there are all sorts of containers that you can purchase, different sizes. So it really doesn't matter how big or small your family is. You can get the big casserole 9x13 freezer containers. You can get small little ones. So if there's just 2 of you, that's fine. Do a bunch of small ones, even easier. And if anything, that's kind of nicer to have the freezer meals because you're not going to all the effort for feeding 2 people, right? Some of the things I do look for when I'm buying freezer meal containers is I want to make sure they're oven and or microwave safe. So you're going to have to keep in mind, how are you going to reheat it? Now, if there's just 2 of you or 1 or 2 people and you're doing small portions, or What we do a lot for my husband is we'll put some portions in a container he can take for lunch. And so for those containers, I want them microwave safe. We don't want to put those in the oven because we don't have time, right? It's just if he's doing them for lunch, he wants them in the microwave. So microwave safe containers are perfect for small portions. Oven safe containers are going to be more for when we have a little bit more time, or if you're going to give them to someone or whatever that way. So keep that in mind when you're buying your containers. Do you want them oven safe or microwave safe? Lids versus no lids. I always get lids. So pay attention to that, because if you don't have a lid for your freezer meal container, you're using tin foil, saran wrap, something like that, and they just don't always seal the best. They don't stay on as well. So make sure you're getting a lid for your freezer container. But also pay attention. Some lids, like even for the oven safe containers, some lids are oven safe, some are not. You have those clear plastic ones. That's great for they have the aluminum pans with a clear plastic lid. Well, that's great for a cake or something because you take off the plastic lid, but you don't bake it in that, or you take off the lid before you bake it. But if you're doing something like meatloaf, lasagna, enchiladas, something like that, you want a lid on there that you can bake it because that'll hold the heat in and help it cook more evenly. So I personally always get the oven safe lids when I do that. There's also, you can do meals, freezer meals that go in your oven, or you can do Crockpot freezer meals. Now, on my A to Z for Moms site, I actually have 2 posts because the first one was so popular, I did a second one on specifically Crockpot freezer meals. So go check those out if you're looking at that. And these were all like unique recipes that we just made up, and they're really good. Now, a Crockpot freezer meal, how that works is basically you're putting all your raw ingredients in a Ziploc bag and then freezing it. So when you're ready, you throw the frozen bag, take it out of the bag, or slide it out, turn it out, and put it in the Crockpot, and then it cooks low and slow in the Crockpot, but all your ingredients are already there. So it is kind of easy because you don't have to worry about having the ingredients on hand or prepping them. You're just putting them in the Crockpot, go to work, or whatever, run your errands. Some of the things you do have to think about if you're doing the Crockpot freezer meals is that freezing, and I learned this the hard way, freezing a Crockpot freezer meal in a gallon Ziploc bag, the shape that it freezes in doesn't always fit in your Crockpot. So pay attention to that. I did find that the quart size Ziploc freezer bags are much better. Even if you're doing 2 quart size ones, those will fit better in a big Crockpot than a gallon one because it'll be too tall. But you can do 2 quart ones, they just tend to fit better. But the cool thing about it is too, with the Crockpot freezer meals, use different size zipper bags for different portions. I mean, you could use a gallon size one and just freeze it standing up so that it'll fit in the bottom of your Crockpot. That's fine. And once it's frozen, it can stack or whatever, however you want it. But so keep that in mind when you are freezing them in the Ziploc bags. But I loved it. I used to make, when my parents, when I was doing a lot of Crockpot meals, I would make a big one for my family, and then I would have just a small quart size one for my parents, and I would give them that freezer meal too. So it was an easy meal for just the 2 of them, and then a family size meal for us. So it's great to do some of that. So but just like I said, just keep in mind how it freezes. You want to make sure it'll still fit in your Crockpot. But then also another thing is, if you're going to stack them, make sure you're watching that. Before they're frozen, you have to be careful stacking some of them, depending on how liquid they are, because the weight of stacking them can make them come out of the containers or take odd shapes. And sometimes I've had, again, speaking from experience, Ziploc bags where they kind of stacked before they were frozen on each other, and they like interlocked. They wrapped around each other and then froze, so you could not separate the 2, and we had to pull them both out. And so pay attention to that too. Sometimes it's better to freeze them in different sections of the freezer, and once they're frozen, then stack them. So once they're frozen, they're solid, they're fine for stacking. So some of the meals that we've done that freeze and reheat really well are lasagna, enchiladas, meatballs, especially cheese stuffed meatballs. That's one of my favorites. So good. Casseroles, soups and stews, marinated meats, pasta sauces. We always do, like if I have leftover pasta sauce or something, I just throw it in a bag and I freeze it, and it's an easy addition to something. If you're doing Crockpot and you need a sauce, you got the frozen sauce there. Baked goods, things like cinnamon rolls. I've also done stuffed French toast. That's really, really good with the fresh fruit, and it's really good. Another idea is smoothie packs. Make your own smoothie packs. So have your combination of your frozen fruit, or fruits in a bag, and juice or whatever you want, and then freeze it in individual bags, and you've got a quick, easy. You can even throw your yogurt, literally everything for the smoothie goes in that bag, and so all you're doing is adding a little bit of milk or water or whatever you want, and everything's frozen, so you don't really need as much ice because you're already going to get that frozen result. So I hope that was helpful. So today we have talked about, with menu planning, where to start, number 1. Number 2, shopping the sales and clearance. Number 3, 2-for-1 meals. And number 4, freezer meal ideas. So this was kind of a shorter show today, but I hope that gave you some great ideas. Again, if you have any questions, you can always email me, podcast@a2zformoms.com, and be sure to check out the website a2zformoms.com. You're going to be able to find some of these, the Crockpot freezer meals, and you can see some of the affiliate links for these things that I've talked about with the options for the apps. Another good website if you are wanting to do some menu planning or you don't have time for groceries. Misfit Market is really great. I've ordered quite a few of their boxes. It's basically your non-pretty produce, so like if it's misshapen or whatever, but you're usually getting it at a really good deal, and it ships right to your house. It's pretty awesome. I really enjoy Misfit Markets. So, and again, I have an affiliate link for Misfit Markets, so if you're gonna order from them, I would absolutely love it if you would use my affiliate link. That would be fantastic. You can get a bunch of the recipes and my menu list and everything like that on what88.com. Again, that's what, the number 8, and then ate.com. So it's like what 8 people ate. What88.com. And tune in tomorrow. We will be having some parenting perspectives on the show. And we're gearing up for Christmas and the holidays, so be prepared. It's going to be some good focus on parenting and preparing for those. So again, we've got Motivational Monday, Teaching Tuesday, Whip It Wednesday, Parenting Perspectives on Thursday, Food Storage Friday, and Money Magic for Moms on Saturday. There's our lineup, but and you can watch us on YouTube. You can also listen to the podcast on any of your major podcast platforms. Just search A2Z for Moms, and we should come up. Thanks so much for listening, and have a fantastic week.